Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki Fateh. My name is Gurpreet Singh. On behalf of an organization called Saving Punjab, which is a research-based educational organization. Just a show of hands in the room, how many of you have heard of Saving Punjab before? Okay, that's good. That means we're doing something good. So today's topic, really excitingly, is about water. It's about pani. It's about the water crisis in Punjab. And I'm going to be speaking in English throughout, if that's okay with everyone. Yep. It's the first time I'm actually delivering a talk just on water. The last time I delivered a talk just on water, it was on the 23rd of March, 2023, standing in the headquarters of the United Nations at the International Water Conference. And that was the time I presented Punjab's water crisis to the world. And it was because of that appearance in the United Nations which kind of led on to many other things and establishing Saving Punjab. But this is the first time I'm delivering a talk on water and Punjab in so much depth. As in, when we do a Saving Punjab talk, we talk about many issues in Punjab, whether that's drugs, whether that's the health issues, but I'm focusing specifically on water today. And what I would like for you guys to take as much as you can away from today, and a lot of the information that I'm presenting today is actually exclusive. It's actually the first time I'm presenting this information. That information hasn't been presented before. So I'm going to start off with a Gurbani tuk. Maharaj says in Gurbani, Pehla pani jiyo hai, jit harya sab koi. Now, understanding water and our relation as human beings with water is very important. Guru Sahib says that the basis and the foundation of life is water. When NASA flies off to other countries, when it's looking for life on other planets, what's the first thing it's looking for? It's water, yeah. Because it knows where there's water, there will be life. And us understanding that, it's not just understanding our relationship with water, but I want to try to explain to you the relationship of Sikhi and water as well, which is something that while I was discussing this topic with myself, when I was kind of planning out how I want to talk, I went down many rabbit holes. And I do this a lot. In research, when you start thinking, oh, I can cover this, I can cover that, I can cover this. And to be honest, I'd gathered so much material that it's like a 4-hour talk. And I had to then, really hardly condense it down to about an hour's talk. So there's so much I want to cover, but there's so little time that I've only condensed it down to an hour. So understanding, Gurbani also talks about Jal Jio Jant Upaye Vakhani Sacha Sach Samavanya. So he created the water, the soul, and all beings. He merged them into the true one. So there's many shabad in Gurbani that Guru Sahib talks about. Jal mein jal samaya, that pure water merges with water. Guru Sahib talks about water as being the basis of life. Guru Sahib talks about examples of water. Shabad in Gurbani, tu daryao, dana bina, main machli, kaise ant laha. How can, as a fish, how can I understand the expanse of water? Guru Sahib talks about like waves, that this life is just like a wave that comes out of the water and goes back in. Guru Sahib talks about us just being a jot that needs to go back to the jot, but just like a drop out of the ocean. There's many examples in Gurbani. Maharaj talks about the chatrik, ke man aisa neo kreo, jaisi chatrik pyas, ek boond, that this chatrik bird is waiting for this one drop of water so that it could, understand the bliss of Guru Sahib. So water and Sikhi has a very, very deep foundation. And understanding the foundation of Sikhi and water, the revelation that came to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, they disappeared for 3 days in the river. The river close to Beas that comes off from Beas. Does anyone know what the river is? Haji? Haji? Yeah. Or anyone know exactly where that is? Haji? Haji, Sultanpur Lodi. So this river here, where you can see this picture, it was actually a place, Sultanpur Lodi, and Beas, the Beas River, there's an offshoot river that flows, and then it goes back into Beas near Harike Patan. Now, Guru Sahib, there's many stories within Pani and Guru Sahib, and the same Jot, 10 Jots later, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj uses that same water from Punjab to create Amrit and gives Amrit to the birth of the Khalsa. As well as that, Guru Amar Das Ji, the Seva with Water Pai Kanhaiya Ji, and every single Gurdwara that was established, Takhta was established, had a sarovar with it. So Guru Sahib knew the importance of water because a sarovar was always put in the major places and establishments where Guru Sahib established these cities. So understanding our relation with water doesn't just come with history, it doesn't just come with Guru Ram Das and Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the sarovar at Darbar Sahib, but Guru Sahib says to us every single morning to do one thing, which is Ishnan. That's Ishnan of Naam, but also Ishnan physically as well, to keep clean. So understanding there is a deep connection, and the world itself in terms with water. 70% of the planet, they say, is water, 70% of our bodies are water. And understanding how the frequency and energy of water, I went down a rabbit hole around frequency and energies of water, but I stopped in terms of Gurbani, but because the topic we're talking about today is the crisis in Punjab. So understanding the history of water and the world, every single civilization that has established internationally has always based around water. Whether that was the Mayan people, whether it was the Egyptians, whether it was the Yellow River in China, every time you see ancient civilizations, you will always find water nearby. You'll always find rivers nearby. And understanding that the conversations of the importance of water are currently being had at the United Nations. These conversations are in regards to, the allocation of water. It's more around the future of wars of this planet are going to be based around water. They're going to be based around how much water is allocated to certain countries under the international riparian law. Now I'll give two examples here why water is important. When water perishes, when water doesn't exist, or when water kind of diverts its natural course, it can change an entire history of civilizations. Now, the Mayan people the history shows the Mayan people were known to have existed, but their existence changed because of a drought directly related to water. Now, understanding the Mayan people is very complicated at the moment because their history has become mythology. And it's the same with the Egyptians. It was common knowledge that the River Nile flew quite close to the pyramids. And what happened? Because the River Nile changed its course, the Egyptian people had to migrate. Now, we all know that there's so many conspiracy theories around how the pyramids were built, who built them, was it aliens, was it dinosaurs, whoever it was, whatever it was. And it's quite hilarious because their history has become mythology. And if that civilization still existed around Egypt, maybe we would know why and how and who built these pyramids. And that it wouldn't be a mystery. But to understand why Punjab is important and how the water issue relates directly to Punjab. But firstly, we want to understand why Punjab is important. I'm going to ask the question to you guys. Why do we care about Punjab?
It's our home.
Sorry, what was that, Haji?
It's our homeland.
It's our homeland. That's brilliant. Yep, it's our homeland. Why else? Guruan di Piran di Tartiya. Guru Sahib could have chosen anywhere in the entire planet to come, but they became Paragat in Punjab. And they used them same rivers of Punjab that we're talking about today to feed. Langar bhi utto chalaya, Amrit bhi utto bakshiya. Even the Charan Amrita, Guru Nanak Maharaj, was from the same sarovars, from the same pani that still flows through Punjab today. But understanding, and my understanding of it, I've broken it down into four main, and there's many reasons why we care about Punjab. But number one is Guru Andi Piran di Tartiya. Guru Nanak Maharaj could have chose anywhere to be Paragat, but they chose Punjab. Our culture, our language, again, is a huge part of understanding what culture means, what language means. Your language is very important. And your language determines your future. They say that your language determines your values determine your behavior, and your behavior determines your outcomes and your future. And if you want to change the trajectory of a qawm, you change its language. Now I can go down a rabbit hole here and we can talk about how many words have been assimilated and changed and how that's changing our trajectory. But I won't go down that. Culture. Sabhyachar. Your sabhyachar is a collective thought of what is right and wrong, rights and wrongs, and that makes a culture. Now, understanding within Punjab, there is a certain culture. We have a certain way of doing things. We have a certain way of dressing. We have a certain way of how we treat others. That is what Punjabiyat is. And that how that is very important for Sikhi is because Guru Sahib talks about many different examples throughout Gurbani. And then many examples that Guru Sahib gives in Gurbani are related to the Sabhyachar. Guru Sahib talks about the flora and the fauna of Punjab. He talks about the plants. He talks about the animals, like some of the ones that I mentioned at the beginning, the Chatrik. Guru Sahib talks about all them because they were native to the land of Punjab. How many of you guys have seen, British born, have seen a Nimda Drakht? Or a Simmal Drakht? It's very hard, but Guru Sahib talks about Nasa Diwal, Simmar Rukh Saraira. Or Maharaj talks about a Kali Koil. Who's ever seen a Koil? Maharaj talks about Babiha, Amrit Vele Bolya. It's given a pukar, it's the way it sings, but we wouldn't understand that unless you understood the flora and the fauna of Punjab, the land itself. So understanding the language, history, they say every 100 meters in Punjab you walk and there's some kind of history. Someone's given a shaheedi, someone's given a sacrifice. And that history is so deeply enriched within Punjab, you can't separate the two. You can't walk through Punjab and not know what happened there. Because it was because of that very history and them sacrifices, is because of them sacrifices that Punjab is where it was today. And the main reason for me and why I understand and why we do what we do is basically the population. Why? Because of you guys. Maharaj said, Panth vasai, main ujda. Who is the Panth? The Panth is the Sikh Qaum at the moment. And where do the Sikh Qaum live? They live in Punjab. So if I care about Sikhi and I want to see Sikhi flourish, I can't say, oh, I don't care about Punjab, I care about the rest of the world. You have to care about Punjab. If you care about Sikhi, you have to care about Punjab, because that is where 75% of your Qaum lives at the moment. If I'm talking to you about Punjab, I'm giving you a shisha to 75% of your Qaum. And if, people always say, well, we say in Ardas every single day, Sarbat da Pala. Absolutely Sarbat da Pala. But who's going to do Sarbat da Pala? Who's going to do that? Tusi karna. Sikh Qaum nahi karna Sarbat da Pala. Which of the Qaum does Ardas 3 times a day for Sarbat da Pala? And it's an investment. If you invest in them good seeds, when Guru Nanak Maharaj went to a pind and they said, they treated them well, and Guru Sahib said, Ujjad jo. And when they went to a pind and they didn't treat them so well, Guru Sahib said, Vasdero, koi na Vasdero. And the ujjad ujjade hoya, the seeds of the Sikh, the Punjab that have come in the world, are ujjade hoye seeds. And this goodness is sarbat da pala. And understanding that 75%, if we focus on our home, it's gonna change the trajectory of the world. Why? Because Gurbani says, Kar sukh vasya, bar sukh paya. You focus on within this home as well, in this harmandar sareer hai, but you focus on our home in terms of Punjab, then them seeds will flourish and make the world flourish. I'll give you a small example. Just look at the streets of Delhi during Kisan Morcha. Them poor little kids, just listen to them interviews, they're saying, we've never eaten so well. Where did these bearded, turbaned men come from that treated us so well? As beggars on the street, they felt like kings amongst them Singhs. So understanding that is just a chalak of what the Khalsa Raj could be like, or what Sikhi could do for the world. Now, I'm going to start off with the very basics, because a lot of people, they might say that they're from Punjab, or they understand Punjabi, and they know Punjab, but they don't know what the 5 rivers, actually more than 5, but 5 rivers of Punjab are. So you've got Indus, which is the big river, and it starts off all the way in Tibet, all the way past here, and I'll show you a picture later on. Then you've got Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, and Satluj. And Satluj comes in. The current Punjab is around yay big. And all of that goes and flows into Indus. So the Indus is, mentioned in many ancient texts. I'm going to go through a little bit of history. So the earliest understanding of Punjab, around 7,000 years ago, known as Meghar, or some people, had many other names for it, but the earliest kind of understanding were these, historical kind of ruins that were found in what is now known as Pakistan. And it was shown that that area was used as an agricultural land. The Aryans were moving in. And there was a decline in the Indo-Aryans around 1500 BCE. And understanding, I'm not going to go too much into the history of it, but one thing I wanted to show you was this. So the earliest mention historically in terms of texts of Punjab was one of them was in the Rig Veda. And the Rig Veda talked about Sapta Siddhu, and it's talked about the land of 7 rivers. So it's talked about this land of 7 rivers. And you're going to think, hang on a minute, we just counted 6. Where's the 7th one? So Indus was mentioned in there, and the certain names that they were mentioned. Indus was known as Sindhu or Indus. Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, Satluj. And there was a 7th river known as Saraswati. So this mythology of this 7th river is talked about in the Rig Veda. And understanding that this 7th river that goes just underneath Satluj, some people say it's Kaggar at the moment, some people say it's not, there's theories around it. But there's many, and if you just go away and actually do a little bit, I spent about an hour and a half on this rabbit hole that I was talking to you about. This 7th river is something that the Indian government is very keen on talking about, because it talks about they want to revive this 7th river. Now, understanding how they're going to revive a river that doesn't exist at the moment. And the river, funny enough, is directly between the Yamuna and the Satluj, known as the link that was going between the two is known as the SYL. Now, what was SYL known for? The SYL canal, the big issue around Punjab, but we're going to come on to that in a little bit as well. So I'm not going to go into the history, but the history itself, we kind of do a 15-hour course, which is known as the Punjab course. We've delivered it in California, but it goes through the history of Punjab from 7,000 years ago all the way to current, and then we spent a couple of hours on the current Punjab as well. So the Punjab course, it kind of covers all these topics, goes into a deep dive of the history, understanding Punjab, understanding everything that happened up until this point. So the course, hopefully we will be delivering it in UK sometime. We're just so busy with many things at the moment that we haven't had the chance. But eventually, I want to train other people up to deliver the course. So it's not just me having to deliver it everywhere else. So keep that in the back of your mind. If anyone here would like to be a part of the Saving Punjab team and deliver the course, that'd be brilliant. And you get to learn so much at the same time. I'm going to start the story of Punjab's water now without going into all the history of everything. At 1948, by an individual called Guljari Lal Nanda, who was the irrigation minister of Punjab. And he famously created the 2 big projects of Punjab's rivers, which is known as Pakra and Harike. Now, Pakra and Harike were understood to be the kind of 2 big dam projects of Punjab, but also throughout the whole of India, one of the biggest dam projects ever done. Now, how did they come about? What happened? And kind of going into the history of stuff. There's been loads of conversation around the Indus Water Treaty and what actually is the Indus Water Treaty. So understanding the rivers that we just talked about, you have Indus, which starts off here in Tibet, China. It goes all the way across Kashmir, and then it goes down into Pakistan. You've got Jhelum, which starts off here in the hills of Kashmir, the Himalayas, all the way here. Beas, Satluj, Jhelum, Ravi, and you can see Ravi actually comes all the way up here. Ravi was the river where Guru Arjan Maharaj was thrown into after they were sat on the Tati Tavi. That was the actual Ravi river. So you can understand the 5 rivers or the 6 rivers of Punjab. What happened was when India and Pakistan partitioned, they said, let's share the water. And how was the water shared? So 3 rivers, the Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, were given to Pakistan, which were around 80% of the allocated water. And the 3 that were left to India, which was Ravi, Beas and Satluj. This was known as the Indus Water Treaty. What they did was they split up the water. They said, you have that side and we have that side. Now, under the understanding, the World Bank, actually signed off on it, but at the same time, the World Bank also said that it's against international riparian law and actually illegal to do so, because water has a natural course. It has natural allocation. Now, damming the water here or damming it there affects everyone downstream. You shouldn't you shouldn't dam the water. The people that want to move towards the water, they should migrate towards the water, but the water shouldn't be dammed to move towards the people, unless there is a surplus of water. Now, understanding how that issue, because this is the Indus Water Treaty is actually the Punjab Water Treaty, because it's involving all of Punjab's rivers. Now, what happened? So the Indus Water Treaty is sanctioned by 1960, and by 1966, Punjab is trifurcated. So the two dams, one being right there where the two rivers meet, you got Beas and Satluj coming in, and the two rivers meet right there. And you've got Parchar there, Parchar, which is a dam that was created to stop the rivers that are flowing into Punjab to capture that water. And I'm going to talk about Parchar in a minute. But understanding how that water was flowing into Punjab and how many kind of canals were leaving from them dams, there was only one canal leaving in 1947, and that was this canal here called the Bikaner Canal. And later on, many canals were created. But to understand that in 1956, that's what Punjab looked like. And the dam project started in 1947. But when they trifurcated Punjab, they left the Bonangal Dam and the Parchar Dam outside of Punjab's jurisdiction, and they left them in Himachal. And they gave the actual rights under Act 78, 79 and 80 of the 1966 Reorganization Accord. They actually gave the rights to them dams to the central government. So Punjab no longer had any control over them dams. So they left them outside of Punjab, but at the same time, they gave the control of them dams to the central government. Now, why is that an issue? So these dams, you can see here, all are under the control of the central government. That means Punjab can't do a single thing with these dams until the central government gives a go-ahead. In 2019, Punjab was flooded because of the dams. And I'm going to talk about some of the other floods that happened because of these dams. But in 2019, I managed to get hold of one of the engineers of the BBM board, Parchar Nangal board kind of engineers. And I recorded the conversation with him. He was a relative of mine. And I said to him, I was like, why did you guys allow the water level to rise so much to 1,600 foot, I can't remember the exact figure, before you opened up the dam and that flooded Punjab? Over 300 pinds were flooded in 2019 January. And I've got him on recording saying, we can't control when the dams are opened. We can't press a button until the central government gives us the go-ahead. And we were requesting them over and over again. And until they gave us the go-ahead, only then we could press the button and release that water into Punjab. Now, understanding the rivers that flow through Punjab, these canals were created and the water was actually pulled out of them rivers and diverted down to the rest of India. And the allocation of that, so Punjab has a natural influx of 17.17 million acre feet. I'm going to talk to you about what million acre feet stands for in a little while. But 17.17 million acre feet is how much water is naturally coming into Punjab. And out of that, Punjab's only getting 24% of it, because the dams that were created and the canals that were created, the water was extracted out and taken to other states. And you can see the other states. So Rajasthan gets 50% of Punjab's water currently. Haryana gets around 20% of Punjab's water. Jammu and Kashmir gets around 3%. And Delhi gets about 1%. So this is Punjab's naturally allocated water that's given to other states in India. So the floods. I'm going to show you a quick video of what happened during the floods. That water you can see there is the Parchar Dam being opened, and that's how much water flows out. So Parchar Dam, this dam, it is a scary dam when you start looking at the statistics. So it holds around 9.34 billion cubic meters of water. And to understand how much water that actually is mind-blowing. Another one of the rabbit holes I went down. To understand the spread of water and how much it is and how much damage it's already caused. So the 1978 floods, the 1988 floods, the 2000 floods, the 2019 and the 2023 floods were all caused because of the dam that was suddenly opened and basically the water levels in Punjab, it couldn't hack the Satluj River. So here's another point that's very important. Because the dam stops the rivers, Satluj, which was normally in some places 1 or 2 miles wide, is only around half a mile wide in some places, or some places 200-300 meters. So what happens to that 2-3 mile wide span? People that have land around it, they start, buying their jameen, or they start making houses within there. So there's certain areas within the Satluj area where people actually have got houses, or they've got the jameen, because it was wasted land, because the rivers are dammed. So the narrow rivers now, there's no actual river banks. So when Parchar opens up its floodgates, the water just spills into Ludhiana or Jalandhar or everywhere else, and that's what causes major floods. So understanding how much water that is and how much electricity is produced, I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, but I want you to watch these 2 videos of what happened during the flooding and what actually was going on in Punjab.
राजस्थान फीडर देख लो तुसी राजस्थान फीडर ते खड़े आ ये हिंदुस्तान दी सब तो लंबी नहर आ 600 किलोमीटर लंबी ते ये दुनिया दा सब तो वड्डा इरीगेशन प्रोजेक्ट आ दुनिया दा सब तो वड्डा सिंचाई दा प्रोजेक्ट आ ते ये नहर जेड़ी आ अज बंद पई आ जेड़ी हरी के हैड तो निकलदी आ हरी के हैड दे फ्लड गेट खोलते ते भी पंजाब पूरा पानी दे नाल डुੱਬਿਆ ਪਿਆ ਤੇ ਆ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸੁੱਕੀਆਂ ਪਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਪਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਦੇ ਰੇਗਿਸਤਾਨ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਰੇਤਲੇ ਇਲਾਕਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਕੀ ਅੱਜ ਉਸ ਰੇਗਿਸਤਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਰੇਤਲੇ ਇਲਾਕਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਤੰਕਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੁੰਝ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਵਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸੁੱਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਤੱਕ ਲੈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਹੜ੍ਹ ਆ ਗਏ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਤੇ ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਬੰਦ ਪਈਆਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਵਾਧੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਡੁੱਬਿਆ ਪਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ ਹਰੀਕਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਬੰਦ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਭਰ ਕੇ ਵੜਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਦੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਡੋਬਾ ਪਏ ਉਦੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰ ਤੇ ਕੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਡੁੱਬੇ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੋਕਾ ਪਏ ਉਦੋਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਹਰਿਆਣੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਮੰਗੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਮੰਗੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੋਈ ਵਾਲੀ ਵਾਰਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦਾ ਹਰੀ ਕੇ ਹੈਡ ਤੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਦੀ ਆ ਹਰੀ ਕੇ ਹੈਡ ਦੇ ਫਲੱਡ ਗੇਟ ਖੋਲਤੇ ਆ ਮਾਲਵੇ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਡਬੋਣ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਪਰ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫੀਡਰ ਆ ਇਹ ਬੰਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਪਾਣੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਰਤੀ ਕਿਸਾਨੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੜਾਈ ਲੜ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਟੀਚਰਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਵਾਧੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਪਾਣੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਰਿਪੇਰੀਅਨ ਸਿਧਾਂਤ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਹੱਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਹੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਰ ਵਾਜਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਬਤ ਕਰਤੀ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਰਿਪੇਰੀਅਨ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਹੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਝੱਲਣਗੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਵੀ ਉਹੀ ਲੈਣਗੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਲੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਉਹ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਝੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ
And the nuksan you can see by this infograph here that Punjab was one of the most affected places when it came to the flooding, but it was excluded from the flood prevention fund in 2024. So you can start understanding of, okay, and this is the CM, the chief minister, who is in essence controlled. The chief minister is controlled by the central government. I want you to hear what the chief minister says. It's very important.
ਹੁਣ ਮੰਗੇ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਪਾਣੀ ਸਾਤੋਂ, ਹੁਣ ਮੰਗੇ ਹਿਮਾਚਲ ਸਾਤੋਂ ਹਿੱਸਾ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਤਾਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਜੀ, ਫਿਰ ਰੋਕ ਲਓ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਰੋਕ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਵੈਸੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਲਵਾਂਗੇ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਸੈਸ ਲਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜੀ, ਮਰੋ ਖਪੋ। ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਦਿਓ ਜੀ, ਮਤਲਬ ਅਸੀਂ ਡੁੱਬਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਰੱਖੇ ਹੋਏ ਯਾਰ। ਮਤਲਬ ਹਿਮਾਚਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ, ਪਰ ਉੱਤੋਂ ਛੱਡੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਹੁਣ ਰੱਖ ਲਓ ਪਾਣੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ। ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ? ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੜੋਗੇ, ਮੈਨੂੰ 7.19% ਹਿੱਸਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਪਾਣੀ 'ਚ ਬਣਦਾ, ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਕਹੂਗਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਬਣਦਾ, ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਕਹੂਗਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਬਣਦਾ। ਤਾਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਮੰਗਣ ਵੇਲੇ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਡੁੱਬਣ ਵੇਲੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ। ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲੂਗਾ। ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਾਜਨੀਤਿਕ ਬਿਆਨ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ, ਚਾਹੇ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਬਿਆਨ ਕਰੋ।
So just to give you a bit of context, I'm going to go back a little bit. So these canals take water away from Punjab. And the moment where the floodgates were opened, because there was so much water in Parchar, the floodgates were opened, these canals that take water away from Punjab, 75% of Punjab's water is taken away via these canals. What they did was they shut the canals off going to the states so that Punjab gets flooded. And that's not just me making that up, that's the Chief Minister telling you that happens. That's the videos of all the different canals that were shut so that Punjab's water that would naturally flow into the canals, that would flow out of the state, which is happening all the time anyway, when it fills up, the canals were shut. And no one can answer why. We've written to the central government, we've written to places, other people have, the activists have talked about it. Why were the canals shut to the other states? Why was it allowed for the water to flow into Punjab but not to leave Punjab? So understanding that, and it goes back down to that rabbit hole I was talking about. To understand how scary Parchar Dam actually is. So I did some kind of calculations, and don't worry about the calculations, but understanding 3.7 million Olympic-sized swimming pools Parchar could fill. To understand it could flood the whole of London by 3 meters. That's how much water is in Parchar. It's equal to the entire annual water usage in Punjab. That's how much water is there. And enough water for every person in India for a month. But the biggest one is, it can cover all of Punjab by 1.8 feet of water if the dam breaks. Now that dam, it's like an omen, it's like a weapon that's hanging over your head all the time. Every time something happens, the floodgates open. 1988, when it was the peak of the movement, floodgates opened. The villages where the Sikh Karkus were, in the Kates and the commands, they were all flooded. Same later on, whenever you see Punjab being destroyed, it's not Punjab's decision when we open our floodgates. That's the central government under the acts of the 1966 Reorganisation, Act 78, Act 79 and Act 80. So understanding how that weapon is used against Punjab, but understanding how much water actually is in that dam is scary. The whole of Punjab to be covered by 1.8 feet of water is a scary amount of water that's being held in Parchar. And to understand how that is used to always kind of dangle over Punjab's head. If Punjab tomorrow becomes Azad, the first thing that to destroy Punjab could be just to bomb the dam. Very easy. It's a weapon that's been created that could be used whenever it needs to be used. So understanding how these decisions were made and how these decisions are affecting us in the future as well is very important. So kind of going back and understanding of this, I want to talk to you about another topic which I touched upon, which is known as the Satluj-Yamuna Link Canal, which is known as the SYL Canal. And it goes back to that Saraswati, that mythical river that I talked to you about right at the start. Now, understanding the politics and what happened with that river. Who knows where the Dharam Yudh Morcha started? Does anyone know where the Dharam Yudh Morcha started? Any ideas? I'll give you a clue. It's about what we're talking about. It was a place called Kapuri. Kapuri da Morcha was the first Morcha of the Dharam Yudh Morcha. And where was Kapuri? This is a picture of the day of Kapuri. Kapuri was the building of the SYL canal. So when the diggers turned up to Kapuri to dig out the canal is when the Dharam Yudh Morcha first started. Where the Singhs turned around and said, no more, we're not going to give any more water. So that was you can understand how the water plays an integral part of politics and what's going on in Punjab at the moment and the history of Punjab. So you can start to understand, why the Anandpur resolution that was written in 73 talked about we want Punjab's water rights to come back to Punjab. Later on, from 73 to now 82, the Dharam Yodh Morcha, who looks at the Anandpur Mata and says, we're going to carry this fight on of the Anandpur Mata, the Dharam Yodh Morcha starts off with the SYL canal where it starts to be built. Now you can start to understand that water is such an integral part. When a singer like Sidhu Moosewala starts singing about Punjab's rivers and starts singing about the allocation of water, he says in his song clearly, we're not going to give you a tupka, give you our water allocation. If you're going to give us Haryana back, because that was our land anyway, then we'll give you the water. But we're not going to give you the water just because, you've broken Haryana away and now it gets a share of the water. So understanding the SYL, the Satluj Yamuna Link Canal, and how he talked about in his song, if you're not going to listen, Fir bullet te Balwinder Jatana aao. That's the lyrics in his song. And anyone that knows the history of who Bhai Balwinder Singh, Shaheed Bhai Balwinder Singh Jatana was, he was the savior of Punjab's water. He wrote letters to the engineers saying, don't dig this river because it's going to demise Punjab. Don't, further destroy Punjab by taking its water away. And when they didn't listen, rightfully or wrongfully so, that's not for me to judge, this is history, he went and killed them. He assassinated the engineers. Some people would agree with it, some people would disagree with it. I'll let you make your own judgment on it. But what he did at that time was, he's known as the savior of Punjab's waters because he was assassinating the engineers that were taking more water away from Punjab. Now you can understand it's wrong to kill people, but at the same time, by diverting millions of acres of water, you're also, destroying Punjab, and you're also damaging those people that are going to now lose out because they've left that water also. So understanding, back to these 3 dams, and it's always going to be around these dams that were created and the dams divert the water. What kind of effect do you think, if Punjab's irrigation, which Punjab needs a lot of irrigation because it's an agrarian state, what do you think happened to Punjab? Where do you think it started to irrigate its fields from once the rivers were dammed? How do you think it started to, irrigate its crops? What did it start doing? From where? From the ground, absolutely. So what happened? Canal irrigation decreased and tube well irrigation increased. When I was at the UN in 2023, I sat there and I started looking at how many canals are in Punjab. So Punjab has around 1.6 million tube wells. Tube wells are these tubes that go in the ground and they pump up this water. 1.6 million. And when you calculate that over the 40,000 square kilometers, that is the cultivated area in Punjab where the agriculture takes place, that 40,000 divided by 1.6 million was around 14 tube wells in 1 kilometer. So in 1 kilometer, there's 14 tube wells pumping up water day and night. So what do you think is going to happen if they're using the groundwater to pump up, to irrigate the fields? What's going to happen to the groundwater? It's going to decrease. And it didn't just start decreasing at any rate, it started decreasing at such an alarming rate. And the statistics, when you start looking at them, I want you guys to do an exercise. Those of you that are from Punjab in this room, just ring your family in Punjab and ask them. Say, how deeper has the borewell had to go? How deep has it had to go? If everyone that will know from the last 20, 30 years, they've had to dig at least 3 or 4. Put your hands up if you know if it has happened in your parents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 people in this room know about, and they're probably from different locations in Punjab, they've had to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And what do you think that's going to happen? If your groundwater, if your rivers were dammed, then you had to use groundwater to irrigate your fields. That meant groundwater began to deplete. What do you think is going to happen to the future of Punjab? So the trajectory and the projections by 2036, 37 are talking about 86% of them blocks are going to be in a red zone. This is the government's data. This is not my data. This is the government saying, according to the groundwater reports, Punjab is going to be a desert within the next 15 to 20 years' time. And I'm going to show you some stuff today that makes you think, oh, is it just a myth? Is it just, I've been hearing this for the last 10 years. I've been hearing this for the last 15 years. It's not a desert yet. Is it actually going down that road? So to start understanding These are again some of the statistics. NASA talks about how Punjab's in this red zone, did this geothermal imaging, and it talked about how Punjab's water is, drastically running out. Statistics show that Punjab extracted 109 cubic kilometers of groundwater from 2002 to 2006, just in 4 years, enough to fill the Dead Sea. That's how much water was extracted from the ground. So understanding from that, sorry, didn't realize my phone was on. So understanding within that, the water table, so these statistics, they ain't long ago. We're talking 18th of March, we're talking the 6th of February, we're talking the 12th of February. The data is always coming out and it's always showing the trajectory that we're following. So that's water table depleting by 67% in wells. Punjab's Assembly addresses severe water crisis, high toxicity. I'm going to talk about the toxicity of it. This was the 18th of May, 4 weeks ago. 120 families struggling for water in the land of 5 rivers. Punjab, land of 5 rivers, they're struggling for water. More recent, 17th of June was when? 2 days ago. 2 days ago, village protests over severe power and water shortage. So there's around 9 documented villages that we know of so far that are running out of water or have run out of water. That's 9 villages that we know of in Punjab. So it started. The war on water has started. The whole point of people saying, Punjab's going to run out of water, well, it's happening now. It's here. This is 2 days ago. It's not a long time ago. Another statistic. 14th of June, Punjab faces annual groundwater shortage at nearly 10 million acre feet. Now I'm going to go on to what a million acre feet is. For those of you that are into economy and understanding how much water that is, and say if we were to be paid for that water, how much would it be? So water economy. Now I did a little bit of research and understanding that there is other states out there that pay for water. So Maharashtra and Telangana, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. There's a relationship between them 2 states of water. It pays Maharashtra for its reservoirs and the water that it gets. And how much does it pay? So we looked at it. So understanding Maharashtra, it charges 5 rupees or around 6 rupees for 1,000 liters of water. So 6 rupees. Now, I'm saying let's go really back to the basics. I'm saying if we said, okay, Punjab's water, 75% of it is going out to other states. Let's not do it at 5 rupees. Let's do it at 0.16 rupees. So just basically it's 1 British penny per 1,000 liters. Just imagine that. So not 5 rupees, but 10 paise. So we're talking a 98% reduction. Say if we were to charge for our water at 98% reduction rate. So some of the statistics, if you look at it, so 1 million acre feet of water. 1 million acre feet of water. 1 acre feet of water is 1 acre filled with 1 foot of water. That's 1 acre feet. 1 million acre feet is 1 million acres filled with 1 foot of water. Is everyone with me? Yeah? So 1 million acres full with 1 foot of water. That's 1 million acre feet. Punjab gets 17.17 million acre feet. So if you understand the statistics around, billion cubic meters to the conversion rate, if we were to plug in the numbers, you're talking around 21.16 trillion liters of water that are flowing through Punjab. And at 26.16 trillion liters, you're talking around an estimated value at 1 pence, that's at 10 paise per 1,000 liters, you're talking about 26 million pounds. Yeah? But remember, we're not using all 26 million because 25% we're using in Punjab at the moment is 75% that we're giving to the states. So that's talking about 15 million Great British pounds. That's annually. But we've been at it for the last 65 or so years after the Indus Water Treaty, which comes to around a bill of around 1 billion UK pounds. That's at 98% of what we're actually saying. If we were to actually charge the full 5 rupees, would be at 57 billion pounds. Now imagine if Punjab actually claimed for that and got that back. we'd be one of the richest states out there. And that is just us talking about the water that is rightfully ours. That's not talking about all the other issues that came, with the water that was diverted out, the groundwater depletion, the health issues that I'm going to talk to you about, the other issues that come around. I'm going to go straight onto that, the wider impacts. So because Punjab had this influx of rivers, fresh rivers, remember rivers have got organic matter, it's got fresh, clean water from the glaciers of the Himalayas. Now, when that water is not pure anymore and you're using groundwater that's recycled, you're getting lots of issues. So Punjab's the highest in arsenic affected areas. It's the second highest in fluoride affected habitats. Now fluoride, anyone knows, is huge issues with fluoride and mental illness with fluoride and health issues, with arsenic and health issues. Understanding Punjab's uranium problem. So Punjab is actually the highest when it comes to uranium contamination in its water. 33% of Punjab's groundwater is contaminated with uranium. Now you could ask, where is that coming from? Well, Punjab is an agricultural state. It uses the highest amount of nitrates, fluorides, ions in its pesticides, in its fertilizers. To understand, Punjab was never using fertilizers and pesticides in the 60s, in the 50s, but Punjab was used as an experimental state. Just look at the fertilizer consumption in 1962. Look how it increased. Look at the pesticide consumption. Look how it increased. Why did it increase? Punjab was used as an experimental state. Punjab was, like when they say you want to hook someone on drugs, what you do is you let them try it for free. You say, come try this. Is it good? And when they're like, this is how much it costs. Exactly what happened to Punjab. It was given pesticides and fertilizers for free. And when they realized it increases your crop yield, they were hooked. In fact, if you look at the percentage, Punjab is a 1.53 geographical area. It's a tiny, tiny percent. But it uses 10% of all of India's pesticides. It's a tiny percentage in terms of the cultivated area, but it uses 10% of the pesticides. And if you look at some of the statistics that are coming from it, Punjab's residues are present in the blood and urine of every fourth person in Punjab's cotton belt. A postgraduate institution of medical education and research, the PGI, study has found the study to establish that around 23% of the people living in rural areas in the state cotton belt have residue of pesticide in their blood. My major university study was on this. So I did a dissertation on Malwa area and the cotton belt and the cancer cases within that. So I looked into the pesticides and the pesticides that we use, and it was shocking. Absolutely shocking. But what's that got to do with the water? So understanding the pesticides that we're using, we're the highest consumer of pesticides and the third highest for fertilizers and pesticides. But what happens? As a farmer, you spray on your crops. It rains. What happens? Where does it go? Down into the groundwater. Now where does Punjab's people drink its water from? On the ground. Hence, the cases of cancer through the roof. And understanding the issues that come with that, 40% of Punjab's water is contaminated or has because it's being recycled. There's no fresh river water flowing through that you can drink because the rivers are dammed. So this is why when we talk about Punjab's water crisis, it's not just the fact that the rivers were dammed and the water was diverted. It means then that the water now that you're using is recycled. And when it's recycled, you are having bioaccumulation, biomagnification, all them, the concentration of pesticides are going into your water, and it's having a huge effect on the health. To the point where this is the picture I showed you right at the start, where Guru Nanak Maharaj went into the river for 3 days and came out. That same river here, where Bhagwant Mann around 2 years ago said we're cleaning Punjab's rivers, he went and got a glass of the water and drank it as a stunt, and do you know what happened to him? Have a read of it. It's hilarious, but at the same time, that's the same darya, the history where Guru Nanak Maharaj went into for 3 days and then came out and gave Gurbani to the world. And that same water that he picks up and drinks, he had to be hospitalized because of that. So you can understand the contaminants, the nitrates that are in the Pani. Punjab's the highest in terms of nitrate. And you can understand NBC News talks about Punjab being the cancer capital. Highest in breast cancer. I know it says second highest there. The statistics today, I checked this morning, I didn't get a chance to change the infographic, it's the highest now. We're the highest in breast cancer at the moment. So understanding the cancer train, I'm going to show you a video in a minute about the cancer train, but before I go on that, this train that leaves Batinda to Bikaner every single night full of cancer patients, because Punjab is the highest in cancer. But I'll just have a read of the statistics. So when we started our activism, we started sending letters and doing activism saying like you should ban these pesticides. When I did my study, in my study, we found that there's certain pesticides that are used in Punjab today that were banned in America in 1988. They were banned in Europe in 2002, and by the World Health Organization, they're deemed as hazardous to human health. But Punjab still uses them. So we wrote these letters in 2018, pesticides were banned. I think I had a picture of it, yeah. So they banned around 20 pesticides. Now, the funny thing about it was the pesticides that were banned, have a read of that. They weren't banned for the people of Punjab, they were banned for that rice that is being exported. It says, you are saving foreign nationals from the harmful effect of pesticides by sending them safe basmati. Where are you when it comes to the health of your own country's nationals? He pointed out. So you in Punjab can put as many pesticides as you want on your crop and eat it as much as you want. There's no limit. Kari jao jo karna. But you have to make sure that the rice that leaves and exports out is safe. And that's the ridiculous. And this is the kind of effect that that's having. So have a watch this video. Quite an old video, so sorry for the graphics, they're quite outdated. Agriculture is a gamble. You know, farmers, they grow their crop like their children, and they treat the crop like their children. Sometimes it rains too much, sometimes it doesn't rain enough, and you can see the wider impact and problems that water is having, the climate is having on Punjab. The soil that's been affected because of fertilizers and pesticides, and other wider impacts around farmer suicides that lead on from it, hepatitis C. You know, there's a pind in Punjab because of that contaminated water that is known as the hepatitis capital. Just have a watch of this, it's only a minute long.
Hepatitis C are spreading through villages of Punjab, courtesy of rampant drug abuse. The menace has led to not just dire health implications, but also an equally grueling economic impact on those affected. In the third part of our series, What's Ailing Rural India, Archana Shukla reports from a village in Punjab, which has earned the infamous tag of being the hepatitis C capital of the country. लोगों को यहाँ पर हेपेटाइटिस है, आप सब यहाँ पे जितने लोग बैठे हैं इसमें सभी को इन्फेक्शन है, लीवर इन्फेक्शन। Of village Lande Road in district Muktsar Sahib, Punjab.
90% of the village has hepatitis C.
Infects the liver and spreads through contaminated blood, runs through this village. Injectable drug users has made the disease so common in this region as if it was a family trait.
So again, the wider impacts of that water being contaminated. Why is the water contaminated? Because they're using that same water, they're recycling that water. Why are they recycling that water? Because the river water was dammed. Why was the river water dammed? Because Punjab doesn't have a choice. Punjab didn't get asked the question, do you want to dam your river water? Do you want to divert your river water? It was never asked the question. It was just done. So understanding the wider issues, or there is other issues that now relate onto this, and kind of understanding Punjab today and the problems that Punjab faces today are throughout. Now we've spent, like I'd say, around the last hour talking just around the water issue. Could you imagine if we started to explore some of the other issues, like the drugs issue, the pollution issues, and many other issues? Again, like I said, this talk in itself, we've delivered it into a course which is 15 hours, but trying to understand Punjab and the wide aspects of, we just talked about the water issue, and even then I've talked about it at a surface level. We've not talked about it in depth. And the issues in Punjab, they are so intertwined. As in, I talked about the water issue just now. How does the water issue relate to agriculture? How does it relate to health? How does it relate to debt? And you could see as a spider web. If I've got water issue, it's going to be related to debt, agriculture, energy, cancer, that relates to health. And the only way that people are finding a way out of the solution at the moment is migration. They feel like the solution to all this is just to leave. But the problem we have is, if they leave Punjab, and then Punjab's, it's then taken over by others that don't care about Punjab, that's damaging for Punjab as well. But if they leave Punjab, it's a muscle drain, it's a brain drain, the other issues that come along with that, again, affect Punjab hugely as well. So understanding, we break these issues down into these 5 issues: health, education, human resources, social, and religious. And we give an understanding within our kind of research facilities within Punjab. A lot of activism, a lot of stuff that we're doing at the moment, which kind of, delivering talks throughout camps, universities, other events, just trying to create the awareness like we're doing today on Punjab's issues. So we as a research-based educational organization, we need the help. We need people like you that can stand here and deliver this talk, so I don't have to drive up from Leeds to do it. We will train you up to do so. But kind of understanding how we can change Punjab for the better. So I don't want to leave you all here saying, yeah, there's all these issues in Punjab. We've got so many issues, but how do we see a way out of this? What's the way forward? How do we create change? So we sat down and we came up with a plan. And that plan is called the My Pind Project. That means every single one of you in this room right now is related or knows or affiliated to a Pind. Now, if you guys just adopt your Pind and start looking at creating the changes within your Pind, then Punjab could be saved. Punjab could be changed. Now, understanding what the My Pind Project is, I've got a short video, I want you to watch it.
Phase 1 of the My Pind Project is exactly that. So what we do for you is we send researchers to your village. They do a deep dive of your village, do real in-depth analysis, whether that's the Pind's health, the sewage systems, the environmental needs, the soil fertility needs, the water level drugs, the education needs of the schools within a village, the Gurdwaras and the other religious institutions, and they generate a report which tells you what exactly your village needs to become better.
Yeah.
And that becomes a starting point, because it's done by research. It's done by researchers that are professionals in this academic sphere, that they know exactly what to be looking for in a village. This questionnaire, we've spent 6-7 months creating it, using the sustainability and development goals from the United Nations, working backwards from that. And the report that generates from it will give you a clear indication of what is the need of your village. Like whether it says a machine cart, is it a store shelter, is it the sewage systems, that you need an actual processing plant, is it groundwater depletion, is it, you've got some kind of, air pollution, is it your soil fertility in your village, is it the health of your village? So one of the days where they're there, they spend 4 or 5 days in your village, one of the days they do a health camp. So it's a free health camp for the villagers. You can go there, get yourself tested out, but for us it's a datagram. So we're understanding, is there an issue with blood pressure, is there an issue with the dietary needs, is there an issue with the cancer, and what is the root cause? If there's a correlation between the data, what's causing that? Is it the diet of the village? Is it the environmental factor? Then how do we then tackle that issue? So it's kind of, to start off anything, you need to do like let's just say like a baseline assessment, and this is that baseline assessment on a specific Pind level. That is the launch of the My Pind Project, which then goes on to phase 2 and phase 3, which will be discussed kind of later on.
So understanding the My Pint project is we go into the pint, we do a deep analysis for 5 days, we extract that information, and then we use the data to make a data-led decision. The data will give us actually a targeted intervention. Do we need to do a cancer camp in your village? If there's no cancer issues in your village, then there doesn't need to be a cancer camp there. But it's a roadmap, is a specific intervention for your village using data and research. So we've done around 3 villages already as a pilot, and we're about to launch the project as a widespread project. We've got around 400 villages that have already registered their interest to start up the village. So we would like every single one of you guys to also register your village and get your village assessed. If you're not going to do anything for your village, the minimum you can do is get your village assessed. Why? Because the data that comes in can be used. If you're not going to do anything with it, we can give that to an organization. Khalsa Aid, Sikh Relief, United Sikhs say, look, this village has this many issues. It has issues here. The intervention is needed. So that's the kind of basis of it. And you can understand there's many more phases to it. The first phase is to understand the problem, the baseline assessment, to understand where we are, to understand your measurability, your scalability, to understand where you're going to do, what's the roadmap to success. And within that is how we then start deploying specific interventions to certain villages. You've got so many ways that you can save water. You've got so many ways to make irrigation smart. So many ways that you can start using these techniques in farming and agriculture. They're all certain techniques. Not just that, I've done an in-depth study on rainwater conservation. How we can use these models of village level rainwater conservation, how we capture rainwater, we inject it back into the ground to raise that ground table. How we educate the village on reduce, reuse, recycle. How we can adopt these models of rainwater conservation or smart irrigation systems, and how we can start adopting them within villages so that it doesn't matter if the rest of the place are struggling for water, at least your village has a high density polyethylene water tank which is being captured by rainwater that you can use for livestock, for agriculture, for other domestic uses. And they are solutions that we want to go use taking forward. So you can start understanding how potentially if every single one of you start focusing on your pint and just get a referral done as a minimum, get a referral put in, get your village assessed, you will get an in-depth report of your village. And then you know what the roadmap is to success. Does your village actually need certain things? Your village the water levels in your village might be fine. You might not need it, but at least you then know from this actual data that's collected by researchers in Punjab what your village needs. Now, how do we want you guys to help? How can you help this movement? How can you help Saving Punjab? Media, anyone that's good with videos, you saw the videos, I made them videos, they were terrible. It could be made so much better. Creating awareness, being in this place, being speakers, we will train you up. I will train you up to deliver the talk. We'll give you the information. Merchandise is something that we're trying to focus on because people like clothing, people wear it, people see it, they will go on Saving Punjab and see what the issues are. Research, so a lot of the things that you saw today presented are research that's been collected by our researchers. Our researchers are voluntary. They go away, they find topics, they research, they write. All these articles are on our website. You can go away and read them. It's all the information that's been collected, that's presented to you guys today. Why can't you be a researcher? Doesn't mean that you have to have a research degree. Doesn't mean you have to have a degree at all. A researcher is a person that's interested in Punjab, that wants to know more about Punjab, that sits there, and we will train you how to become a researcher and write articles. But you just need to have the thirst and the interest to want to do something. Not everyone's a natural born researcher, but it's just start reading up, giving us the information like, oh, I found this is a solution. One of you might find a brilliant solution that none of us have thought of before. So you can understand what you can do. The minimum things that people can do is like, leaflet drives, take some leaflets, give them out, Gurdwara stalls, street Parchar, exhibitions, social media. Just put in hashtag Saving Punjab on your social media. If you click on on Instagram and just type in hashtag Saving Punjab, all of the infographics that we've created, all the data we've collected will come under that hashtag. For us, someone might read it, someone might see it, someone might create some change somewhere. It's just about creating the awareness. So another way that you can make a difference is by becoming a member. It's a new thing that we're starting off. You get a t-shirt in the post, you get a magazine, you get an official card, a membership card, you get a letter, you get a badge, you get a few of the things. There's 4 kind of packages. And what that does is it helps us get more researchers on the ground in Punjab, get more volunteers that can possibly be paid here in the UK, and how basically if we're getting X amount a month, then we've got X amount to give towards more literature, to more things that we can do. So if you want to become a member, scan the code. I can leave it up there towards the end as well. And basically all it is you fill the form out and all this stuff gets sent out to you. You become officially a member of Saving Punjab, but you're supporting the movement. You're supporting the My Pind project because it's costing us around £1,000 to do a pind, but the minimum we ask for from people is £350 because we know people ain't going to pay £1,000 to get research done in their pind. So these costings will go towards the costing of making, fulfilling that difference within the pind. But that's it from me. I mean, I tried to cover the water topic today. It's not just the water topic alone. It's got many other topics around it. But understanding what we spoke about today, I would say is the backbone of many issues in Punjab. 1984 started off from the water movement. Many of the other political issues, whether it was the Rajiv Gandhi Accord and many of the things that happened, were all based around the water. The Kapuri Morcha, the Dharam Yudh Morcha, the Anandpur Mata, all based around water. The breaking up of Haryana and Himachal was based on Punjab. The trifurcation of Punjab, based on Punjab. The 1966 Reorganisation Act was based on the water of Punjab, the rivers of Punjab. The Indus Water Treaty, that's such a hot topic right now, based on the waters of Punjab. So understanding the water crisis, the trajectory we're going down, and intervention is needed right now. If we don't do something, and I showed you the articles, it's not, it's going to happen in a year's time, it's going to happen in 2 years' time, it's happening right now. There's villages right now that are beginning to run out of water. What's it going to take? Everyone got up and walked to Delhi for the Kisan Morcha. But what was the Kisan Morcha? It was for MSP. What's MSP? Minimum support price. What's that? Their wages. Now just have a think about this. That was for their wages. How are they going to be farmers without water? I said this in 2019 when the Kisan Morcha first started. I said our fight should be in the streets of Delhi for our water to come back. MSP can come and go. Do rotiyan cut kha lange. The fight should be for water. But the problem is today they turn the tap on and water comes through, so they don't see it's a problem. But when it stops, it's going to be a problem. So right now we are on the sidelines, but we're watching the football game. And we can see where the goalies are, we can see where the strikers are, we can see where everyone is. The problem is in Punjab, they're in the game. They're focusing just on the ball, on their goal. They can't see the bigger picture. They can't see the whole game. We can see it. So it's up to us to be that change. And the way you're going to be that change, first of all, is just to start focusing on your pind. Get in touch with your pind. When you put a referral in, you have to make a connection to the pind in Punjab. And that is, for you, a starting point to connect back to Punjab. Anyways, before I go on to a whole tangent of many other things, I just want to say a huge thank you. If I've said anything wrong, thank you all. I will now take some questions if there is any questions, but WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. Is there any questions? That means I've done a fantastic job at explaining absolutely everything. Oh, damn, I haven't. Yes, go on.
With your experience, where do you see the future of Punjab going?
That depends on, if you're driving down the road and your steering wheel's in your hand, if you turn a centimetre this way, what happens 100 miles down the road? You're 100 miles out, aren't you? Same that way. That depends on us right now. The trajectory and where Punjab is depends entirely on what we do about it. We could change Punjab overnight if we really wanted to. But what we are right now, me included, we're busy in our 9-to-5s. We're busy in making our houses nicer, getting nice cars. And we're focused on establishing our life here because this has become home for us. Really, right at the start, Baji said, Punjab is home. But do we truly care about Punjab like it's our home? I think very few people do not, because very few people do, because the understanding is we've grown up here, we've become assimilated here, and this has become life for us. Whereas our parents never left Punjab to stay away. They always wanted to go back. There was always an aim to kama ke kar nu wapas jaunge. And we've kind of lost ourselves a little bit. But understanding the future of Punjab, it all depends on us. The Punjab at the moment, 70% of the workforce in Punjab is out of Punjab, it's from Bihar or UP. So crimes that never existed in Punjab are now going on in Punjab. Chain snatching, sexual abuse, rape, massive increase. Because people from Punjab aren't from Punjab. And they come with a certain values and certain culture. So understanding the trajectory of Punjab can change, and it can change very fast. Kartar Singh Srabha was an 18-year-old boy that started a revolution going from America, catching a boat back to Punjab and caused inqilab, changed Punjab overnight, a revolution. Bota Singh and Garja Singh were two Singhs. 700 years of Raj that Mughals had, there was 200 Sikh left living in the jungles, eating patte, and 2 Sikh stood their ground and caused a ripple effect that ripped Punjab apart, and there was 2 Sikh, Bota Singh and Garja Singh. So I don't know which diva, which Bhai Jaswant Singh Khalra used to say, Punjab ek deepak diniya is a candle that is challenging the darkness. I don't know which candle Guru Sahib ne seva leke will challenge that darkness. And all it takes is a candle. You have a little flame in a forest, it could set the whole forest afire. But understanding that we have a duty is the starting point. And that's the future I see of Punjab is going to change when we start seeing it as our responsibility to Punjab. Because if Punjab nahi reha, Punjabi bhi nahi rehne, Punjabi bhi nahi rehe, it's going to be a huge struggle for the next generations. I'll tell you why. There's a saying, Punjab jada hai, bhaਵੇਂ ਪੱਤੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਹੋਣ, ਜੇ ਜੜਾਂ ਸੁੱਕ ਗਈਆਂ ਤੇ ਪੱਤੇ ਵੀ ਝੜ ਜਾਣੇ ਆ. That is entirely true. Your roots are Punjab. And we talked about the importance of Punjab right at the start, but the roots, if they dry out, then you could be put there in whichever part of the world, but your roots are your roots. Those people that don't know where they came from, they don't know where they're going. You know, history repeats itself to teach itself for those people that forget history. And if we forget history because we don't tell our kids, or we don't, focus on what happened to us and our history, now how are you going to preserve history if you're not from the land? I'll give you a prime example, Pakistan. There's around 120 Gurdwara in Pakistan. How many are accessible how many Sikh are in Pakistan, do you know? Around 30,000. 30,000 Sikh. There's more Sikh in Walsall than there is in Pakistan. But in Pakistan, there's more historical Gurdwara in Pakistan than there is in the whole of India. Places like where Guru Ram Das Ji was born, Guru Arjan Dev Ji was Shaheed, Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Kile, understanding where Bhai Taru Singh's Khopri was. This history is immense there. Now, did you guys know where Bhai Mani Singh was Shaheed is currently a place in the back of someone's shoe shop? Did you know Bhai Taru Singh's Astan is actually currently locked off from the army? We can't visit it because it's disputed land. People are saying it's a mosque, some people are saying it's not. There's so many places throughout Pakistan that just the Gurdwara have. I was watching videos the other day, the Gurdwara just don't exist anymore. They said there used to be a Gurdwara there, and you go there to the places because they're in direct villages somewhere. What happened? When Maharaja Ranjit Singh was the Raja, he said to the Granthi of Nankana Sahib, ride the horse as far as you can ride it, and wherever the horse stops in Guru Nanak di dharti di zameen hai, Raj thoda sega. You preserved it. When Maharaja Ranjit Singh was Raja, ਉਹ ਹਰੀ ਮੰਦਰ ਨੂੰ ਸੋਨੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੜਾ ਕੇ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਰੋਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਰਾਜ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸੀਗਾ. ਜਦੋਂ ਰਾਜ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਗਾ, ਕੀ ਹੋਣਾ? No one's going to talk about your history to you when we've broken off a distance from Pakistan because there's not many Sikh there anymore. Look what's happening to your history. So if we disconnect from Punjab, what's going to happen to the history? What's going to happen to our Boli, our Ma Boli? Ma Boli is just a prime example in itself. Are you British born?
Yeah.
How would you say your Punjabi is decent? You can have a conversation in it? Yeah? So I'm sorry putting you on the spot because you asked the question. But like the basics of any language is colours, shapes, the alphabet. Do you know your Udayara, all start to finish?
To a decent level.
But it's hard, doesn't it? Even I forget sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's a basic. What about shapes?
Again, basic.
What's a triangle in Punjabi? But you can see it's not just that, there's many things. What's this in Punjabi? For anyone? What do we call it in Punjabi? Huh? What do we call it? What do you call it anyway?
Glassy.
Huh? Glassy? Glassy is an English word. Glass is an English word. Cup? Cup's an English word. Where's the Punjabi word? Can you understand? Hanji?
Is it pyala?
Pyala, hanji. We say, it comes in Gurbani. Param pyala. But how many people say pyala faraja, pyali farade? Can you understand the words that we use every day, that it changes your trajectory? Pen. What do you say pen in Punjabi? Huh? Pen. ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿੱਕਾ ਬੁਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਤੂੰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਕਾ ਫੜਾ ਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ
ਇਹ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਆਇਆ
pen it should be kalam. What about paper? ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਫੜਾ ਦੇ we say comes in Gurbani every single day kalam ਕਾਗਜ਼ ਕਲਮ ਨਾ ਲਿਖਣ ਹਾਰ we say every day ਪਰ ਉਹ ਆ ਕਾਪੀ ਫੜਾ ਦੇ ਆ ਪੈਨ ਫੜਾ ਦੇ an understanding that's just like the very basic words, you know, shapes, colors, even things like school, teacher, master. These are all words that are English words. We've adopted the English language. Now this is, you know, a generation. Imagine 2-3 generations where how many words we will forget. There's so many words. Punjabi is so beautiful, and I'm going down a rabbit hole again. I'm going down a trajectory. I just want to say this one. Punjabi is so beautiful that within one thing that the English dictionary explains, Punjabi will have 100 words for it. For example, in English, if someone's your mum's brother, what do you call him? Huh? In English? Uncle. What about your dad's brother? What do you call him? Yeah? What about all them rishte, uncle, your auntie. We've got taya, chacha, masad, fuffad, jija, patija. We've got so many different words just to explain the rishte. Same with you know, explaining. So in English we'd say face. That's someone's face. That's their looks. We're just explaining. You could say certain words to describe how you think of that person. If I say, "Eda chehra dekh," chehra's a nice word, isn't it? You say, "Eda butha dekh," "Edi shakal dekh." You can start understanding just the words. Even your akh naina or the dele kad ke dekh raha. It's so beautiful, even like in terms of, you know, different words of rivers. Before I started researching this, I didn't know there was a difference between a nair and a nadi and a darya. I just thought, oh, it's all stream, river. But canals, nair is a canal which is man-made, darya is a natural. You got nadi which is smaller, you got cheel, you got khal, you got so many words. And I've obviously tried to, you know, expand my vocabulary. I pull out some fancy words when I'm talking to Punjabi. I say Pugolik Khetar, which means geographical area, or Rasayanik Keetnashak Davaiyan, which means chemical pesticides, or say, you know, so certain things that you try to expand your vocabulary because I want to keep that Punjabiyat and then Punjabi words alive. But we all should make that effort. With our kids especially, with the younger generation, to try to keep Punjabi alive. Sorry, is there another question? That question was really long-windedly answered. The future of Punjab is in our hands. Hanji.
On the topic of trajectories, is there anything in recent years you've seen from the Parchar that you're doing, and obviously other organisations as well, that has improved the situation, or things you've seen that have gotten better as a result of?
Yeah, actually, you know, it's a really good question because a lot of people don't normally ask that question. We're always focused on the negatives.
Positive, right?
Positive, yes. You could say it as a positive, you could say it as a negative. After we spoke at the UN, the articles we used and presented at the UN were deleted from databases. I see that as a positive. That means I'm having an impact, that they're deleting the articles and trying to destroy the evidence. Another positive, these people are caring about Punjab now. People are coming forward and starting to say, you know what, I want to do something for Punjab. People are going out of the way to try and learn Punjabi. There's a Duolingo app, you know, alternative that's being created in Punjabi, keeping Punjabi alive. I see that people, you know, are setting up initiatives to get in touch back with Punjabi, not just saving Punjab, but other initiatives, and we support them all. Anyone and anything doing anything is supporting. The fact that this room's full right now is a positive. People care about Punjab, people want to know about Punjab. And it's internationally, wherever you go, wherever you see a Punjabi, they've got huge hearts. They've got hearts of gold, and they always want to help. So when they know that there's a roadmap to get back to a better Punjab, they will always help. I always say to people, in Dubai, they're creating this city, the line in the desert. It's coming out of nowhere, isn't it? Why can't we say 2040 Punjab? Just vision it right now. You've got palm trees, you've got, you know, nice houses, you've got swimming pools in your houses, you've got malls, and we live there 6 months a year. We do hybrid living. And you've got Darbar Sahib on your step, you've got Punjabi Khana, you've got everything you want. Why can't we make Punjab how we want to live there? Yeah, I know, you know, there's a sense of us that says we shouldn't change Punjab too much, it should be rural, but if we want to adapt to live there and revive Punjab, why can't we set a roadmap of 2040 Punjab and we remigrate? We can do that. It's just trajectory. It's about manifesting it. Once you manifest it, we can make it happen. All it takes for Punjabis is one pind to do it, and everyone's like, "Falane da pind kinna sona, asvi apna sona badaiye." That's all it needs. It needs one person to step up and do it. Everyone's going to call on to it. Anji.
The American Singh in Gurdwara.
Yes.
His family,
Yeah.
which is a good friend of mine's.
Okay.
And he's moved his whole family 5 years ago, migrated to Punjab.
Okay.
They've really blasted, like really powered him to say, look at this guy, an American guy, Gora, half Punjabi, half Gora, can go and do it. But,
Why can't we?
Yeah, we can. And it'll be great to see a show of hands who actually aspires to do that, because, you know, maybe you want to see a show of hands who has a passion.
Yeah, but who would love to live in Punjab, even if it's a hybrid living? That's most of the room. Look at that. That's brilliant. You know, one thing that Singh here says, this is one of the things that, you know, when we're talking about phase 2, phase 3 of the MyPin project, well, phase 3 and phase 4 is about the reverse migration, about investing in Punjab, of creating that investment. Now just envision this. Say if Bobby Singh is going to go back to Punjab, yeah, and he's going to go live there for 6 months a year. We get 100, 200, 300 people, we go to the airport and we send them off with flowers. And that video goes viral, what do you think is going to happen? And on the other side, when he's getting into Punjab, ke Punjab da surma, daleer, apna mard mud ke aaya apni mitti de vich. You just get 100 people there throwing flowers at him. I guarantee you that video goes viral, people like, maybe chalna. People will go back. It's about setting a trend. And people inside, when you go Punjab, you don't want to come home, because that is home. You know when the World Cup was happening and the people missed the penalties and everyone was like, oh, these guys missed the penalties, go back to your own country. I remember people were singing the song there. I was a teacher then, and they're saying football's coming home, football's coming home. I remember sat there in the classroom. It was a really weird moment. I sat there. I started crying. Because I thought, football's coming home, but where's home? Because for me, this isn't home. I don't know. I just never felt like I belonged here. This is not home. I had a heart issue and I was in hospital, and the doctor said to me, he goes, Mr. Singh, you're biologically not made for this country. And like, you know, you could live here all your life, you could eat the food here, but you're biologically not from here. You need the heat. You need that whatever it is we need as biologically, we're not from here. And it just made me realize that, why is this we could do what we want to assimilate and be, you know, within their cultures and do all these things that they do. But at the end of the day, we respect the land here because it's given us a lot, it's given us opportunities. We'd never speak against it like that, because you don't loon nahi haram karida jitho kuch khada hove. You never do that. But I'm not offensive in saying that it's not home. I'm not offending British culture. I'm just saying that there is another place that we can walk. You know, there's a saying, they're saying, if you don't look like your granddad, if you don't speak like your granddad, and you don't eat like your granddad, there's been some kind of genocide somewhere. Now, most of us, we might look like our granddads. Can we speak like them? Probably not. Do we eat like them? Definitely not. We all have a love, you know, chips and beans and beans on toast, you know. Can't beat that. That's one thing I like about the British culture. But understand. But then again, Desi Khana is amazing. I'm going to stop rambling on. Any other questions? Hanji.
I just want to say thank you. I think it's been a real inspiration to have you here, because I've not heard you speak ever. You've done fantastic work up until now. Gurpreet, tell us this. What about Punjab? Like, you know, who are the people in Punjab that are standing with you shoulder to shoulder in this project? Because is this just a UK umbrella? Is it Canadian, American, Australian? And then who are the people in Punjab? And then what can we do when we go to Punjab? Because we've seen a lot of social media connecting us to like ashrams or connecting us to like, you know, orphanages and all of that. And we often go to these places and donate something. But what if we all took the steps to actually, you know, get involved with this when we go to Punjab? Like, what is the next connection?
That's a brilliant question. That's an amazing question. So we've got a nexus of researchers in Punjab who we've handpicked and built, but we don't advertise them, and there's a reason for that. They're going to come into your village, they're going to do a deep analysis, they're going to do soil sampling, water sampling, looking at the school, do like an Ofsted report of your school, they're going to look at the social issues, they're going to look at the drugs issues, and they're experts in their fields. So the reason we don't advertise them people out is because they need to be able to move and maneuver within Punjab. but we trust them and we've worked with them closely. So that's our people in Punjab. There is others that are social figures that we're in touch with. I'll give you one name, Lakha Sadana, and a few people like that, Pana Sidhu. These guys are in touch with us, and they wholeheartedly, Sukhpal Khaira, there's politicians even that is supporting of what we're doing. But openly we stay apolitical and we stay away from certain figures because we feel like we want Bobby Singh to connect to his pind and create the change in his pind without it having to come from a key figure. We want you to connect to your roots. How can you help? Well, there's some people have put referrals in right now at the moment that they've planned their referral to happen when they go back. So the researchers will go into the pind and collect the data when they're there. So they can see the health camp happening. They can see the Gurdwara being looked at, the schools being looked at. They can see that on the ground work and that data being collected. And then when they see that, it's exciting for them. And when you see a report, and I'll send you a report, when you see all the data that's coming and how it can be used, the data is, we underestimate what data is and how data can be used. So when we see that there's correlation with certain sets of data, how data can be manipulated, how data gives you scalability, measurability, accountability, and where we use that data to hold these organizations to account that have got millions of their accounts to say, well, you've got X amount of millions, why don't you use it towards a water tank that needs to be put here? Why don't you use it to a cancer camp that's to be here? Imagine these organizations that are already doing stuff in Punjab, if they were used the data to work more efficiently. You know, rather than muchakke utte cancer camp come, do it where it's needed. Well, this print shows that there's cancer cases here, let's do a cancer camp there. So you can understanding how we can be involved in that, and it's how connecting globally. So what pind are you from, Bobby?
So it's right near Gurdwara.
So near Gurdwara, yeah? So your pind, you're not the only person that's left from that pind, is it? That pind is probably Khali, isn't it?
Khali,
yeah.
Khali.
Now, that means there's probably people living in New Zealand,
Everywhere.
California, Canada, UK, Europe. And I imagine if every single person from around the world puts a referral in for the same pind. And what our job is going to be then to connect you. So when you've got a diaspora Pindus group that is connected because of this report, when the report's shared collectively to you and you can all work together, your fathers, your forefathers went to school together, they played in the pinds together, and we're connecting you together. Absolutely. To then focus back on Punjab, to then collectively go at a certain time of the year so that you can come together and enjoy the pind again together, to fill that pind back up. That's the vision that we have.
There's certain parts of Punjab that need help.
Absolutely.
Like, majority of us here are from Doaba.
Yeah.
And we've done really well. We've been here 50, 60 years. It's almost like whatever we're making it there is secondary or is non-important. Here is primary. But there's places in Punjab, and I don't know these places because they're not anywhere near where I live, but they are in need of dire help.
They're empty.
Yeah, and we often only look at the city like Fagwara or Jalandhar because that's what we're associated with. We don't travel 100 miles that way or that way unless we're going to go specifically to a Gurdwara and then we drive back.
Yeah.
We don't go into the little roads, into the routes, and you know. So I would certainly say that the Wamba that we see, and I don't know if people will agree with me, the Wamba is doing really well. Versus, I don't know what's going on outside, but I do know one thing. Most people that I connected with in Punjab a few months ago were only interested in what they were eating, and there is no such thing as sharing. You know, and that's really unfortunate. Yeah. It's just survival.
It's become greedy.
For us, it's not about survival. We are living a luxury life, which is allowing us at 8 p.m. to sit here and discuss Punjab. But I never saw this in 2 months in Punjab. As you say,
they're in the game.
Watching the game.
They're in the game.
Are the game.
Yeah.
And all they're saying is, "Buddy, how can you put a referral in? I want to get to England."
Bar Nikli. But you know, that understanding that, Bobby, that was a rabbit hole I went down. I spent about 5 hours understanding on the psychoanalysis of why people migrate. So I did it like a real kind of few hours on understanding of why does a person think I want to leave Punjab. And there's a real, I'd say, nasty side of that that's been indoctrinated in people's minds through songs and movies and examples, and how Punjab, in terms of its trajectory, you know, if you look at the percentage of people leaving Punjab compared to the India, so the national average per 10,000 is around 186 people per 10,000 leaving. That's the national average. What do you think Punjab's average is? 1,056. It's tenfold. It's the highest in the entire country. There's more There's more agents, travel agents in Ludhiana than there is in the whole of Maharashtra, just in Ludhiana alone. So you can start to understand why is Punjab being divided. And this talk was just on water. When you start looking at all the other topics, whether it's cancer, drugs, crime, pollution, all these other things, your mind gets blown away thinking, why is Punjab? Punjab is the capital of everything.
Last thing I want to say, sorry, I want to say the connection between you and 5 major charities with the basics, they're giving you the stage. But having that visibility on basic site and having the visibility on something like Khalsa Aid, and being associated and taking 10% of what they created to help. I know you're laughing.
Going to scare a lot of people now.
But that's exactly my point. My point is, like, when we give, we give a figure to these people, not for them to say this is mine. It's for them to, use that in a most sensible way. And Punjab actually is like number 1 for me, but they don't. They would rather. Apologies if I'm going off track. They would rather give it to a third world Muslim country rather than turn around and help you. And that's what really upsets me. Yeah. Because here we are seeing all of these problems, and there you see a camp in Iraq feeding 25,000 people when they've got, 3 billion people in their own country that can feed them. Why are they taking money from us? I'm sorry.
I think it goes back down to...
This annoys me the most, knowing how much you're putting in, and yet you have no association or affiliation apart from perhaps a handshake, when really we as Punjabis, as Sikhs, we expect this to be priority and not the other, but nobody's speaking up.
I think you raise a very valid point. And Kar sukh vasya, bar sukh paya.
Can we get a show of hands who thinks that this is more of a priority than Iraq? Then this is what you need to report back, because guys, we're being silenced here. This, for me, there is nothing more important. So why do certain figures turn around and say it's my decision where the money goes? It's not yours. It's our decision. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I totally understand the sentiments there, and I feel strong towards that as well. Hanji.
I think Sikhi is more about serving the humanitarian issues, and if it's about crisis of war and you are actually serving cause to that, there is no harm.
I would say that all is needed.
All is needed.
Yeah. But we as a Qawm, so Guru Nanak's philosophy was Guru Nanak didn't care just about Punjab. Guru Nanak travelled the world. I agree with you there. And Guru Nanak said, "Sab mein jyot hai soye, tiste chanan, sab mein chanan hoye." But there's a very important part in our minds also. I agree with what Bobby Singh's saying as well, because as a Qawm, if we've got millions in the accounts, which we know should be serving the Swand. So this is a really important concept here. If you read the Sikh Ret Maryade, the Swand is for the Panth. The Swand isn't for the world, it's for the Panth. Because this is what the Sikh Ret Maryada says, that we give a 10th back into the Panth, and the Panth serves the world. So it's that thing that I said earlier, it's about investing within those people that are going to do Sarbat Tapala. Where you've got a Sikh, where there's a Nishan Sahib, no one's going to go hungry. Where you've got Nishan Sahib, there is shelter. Where you've got Nishan Sahib, you've got equality. And it's that where if Punjab truly was flourishing, Punjab would serve it could to its best ability. But at the moment, unfortunately, we have got certain focuses on other places. But I'm not saying that's not needed either. We need to show that we can serve humanity as well. So I think it's a balanced.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's 70 Muslim countries, 70 something. Punjab is only one. Do you not think the 70 Muslim countries can feed their own? Now wait 1 minute. Wait 1 moment. Katie, wait 1 moment. Just 1 moment. I feel very sensitive. I feel very sensitive about this topic. Personally, I'm actually trying to live in Punjab. So I've gone there for 8 weeks. I've gone there 3 times in a space of 1 year. I've actually felt like living in Punjab. My wife wants to live in Punjab.
Wow,
it's all amazing. About the children. We put our kids first. We're here for our business and the kids' education. They are our #1 priority. The moment something changes and they're free, we'll go and live there. And buddy, I welcome you guys throwing flowers on the opportunity of it. Truthfully, I'd rather do it now. We were this close, my children, everybody's like, let's do it. But when the temperature hits 45 degrees, do definitely come over and give me an umbrella. The flowers won't help there. You see, you've got to be realistic. You have to be realistic. Look, what I will say is, I love the bond and I love everything that we're doing. The disconnection kills me the most. It's like he belongs to that, he belongs to that charity, she belongs to that, Gurpreet's doing that. Hold on, what about the inclusion? What about the fact that we want one united place where everybody is together and we, the Sangha, are choosing which way it goes? We've got apps. We've got the possibility of saying, well, if I give £5,000, I want it to be 90% Punjab, and I want it to be 5% to an Islamic state. Would that not be fair? Now, when people are saying, look at us feeding these poor children, look at us doing this, well, there's 70 Islamic countries, Muslim countries that could be doing that. Why are they not? Why is Punjab doing it? Number two, buddy, when it comes to Punjab's problems, tell me one Islamic charity that's coming into Punjab and serving and helping Punjab. Name me one.
We are self-sufficient.
How can you say that when you've got 20 problems on the screen? Gurpreet, please name me one Islamic charity.
I can't name any, to be honest. Haji, say that again? I think that's one topic out of 20 we've touched on. Yeah. I think it's more than happy to come back whenever you need me. Haji?
I think what Bobby's trying to say, which is correct, which is
Connect to your roots, go back
connect to your
home.
roots and prioritise.
If you guys go to Disneyland every year, forget Disneyland, go back to Punjab.
Absolutely.
That's the most important.
That's so true. And once you go there, just those of you that have been, just close your eyes for a second, and just envision walking down them stairs and seeing that Sarovar and seeing Darbar Sahib. And that's what feels like home. That's home. Walking down them stairs and seeing Darbar Sahib is home. And there's no place on earth that equates to that feeling when walking down Darbar Sahib. And that for me is what drives me. That's for me that we want to see that place flourish because of that. That's what makes me do what we're doing. Guru Sahib guides us to do what we're doing because of that very feeling, just walking down them stairs. Every single step where thousands have given Shaheedi just for that place. And we have to make sure that that place is preserved and do our absolute best to make sure Punjab flourishes.
There's a point in your life when you are ready to go, and excess is the greed of the Maya that keeps us here. For our pension, for more excess money to raise our children, we're attached to this country because we have all of these relationships. But there are some surme amongst us that have this line, and they don't go there when they're 80 or they never go. I saw my Daya last year literally cry to go back, and he was stage 4 cancer.
Why?
He says, there's only one thing that I want, which is you to take me back. I don't want to die in this country. And he spent the last 20 years, when we used to say to him, go back, he used to say, nah, I'll go for 3 months, 4 months. And then in the end, where do they want to go? They want to go back there. I'm sure every parent and grandparent's dream is to go back. So as us, we should be encouraging them to say, you should now go.
Yeah.
We
support them.
There is no reason for you to be here.
Yeah.
If you start doing that, you will make Punjab great. Your parents will need people to do this, that. You'd have 3 people working in your house. You know, the average wage in Punjab is so small.
£300.
Yeah, the Gyani gets £60 in the bend, £60 a month. You know, you go there and you start building, your parents go there. Guru Sahib has also given us the antidote to all of these problems. He's created the majority of us are entrepreneurs. So we have businesses running all over the world, and the Pesa goes back to Punjab. At the moment, the Pesa stays here in the next £2 million house. We are so engrossed in making this country great that we are selling everything in Punjab just to have a big house here. And in the end, the taxman even takes a slice of that.
And who knows what the future holds of this country anyway. For us, Citizenship Amendment Act, you know, they could turn around and say, we don't need you anymore. And we don't know what.
Our value is diminishing. Let's be honest here. There's more racism. Reform is taking a better position. Europe's got more of these fascists and racists coming through. So maybe my mum was right. She goes, this country wasn't yours. We were always supposed to go back. Let's go back.
Bhaji, you had your hand up?
But and make the money from here and then go back. I encourage everyone to be entrepreneurs. That's what I encourage. That way, you live in Punjab and your teams make your money in the UK.
It's amazing.
It will never run out.
Thank you, Bhai. Bhai, you had a question?
Quickly,
Haji.
will you be planning to publish the registered pens that have already registered? And when is this going to go live? Like when?
So this will be live within the next 4 weeks. Registering the list of 400 and so pins that have already registered their interest. I think we prefer to do the pinned and then tell that we've done the pinned. We just don't want any issues by telling people that we've got registered interest of these pins, and then there's just any issues that occur from that. As in, we rather do the work and then say we've done this pinned. If there's a pinned that you want to specifically know about whether your pinned is in that list, we could tell you that. We just won't make it public and say these are the pins that are registered, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, yeah, I say don't hide this sort of information. It's about time we took a stance. If we truly believe in a Punjab and we believe in what the work that you're doing, this ain't conflicting. This ain't to turn around and put anybody down in India. The work that you're doing is required. It's bloody 20, 30 years late, and it should be completely transparent. And if you're being troubled for this, then we definitely need to go from here.
The problem is that the repercussions of certain things that happen. I mean, I can have a conversation with you afterwards. Let's just say, apna chagga chakko apna ted nanga honda hai, and the government of Punjab does not want the truth of the reality of each pind coming out. I'll give you one example, Bobby. Yeah, the Punjab government released statistics from 2000 to 2015. There was 3,636 farmer suicides. Let me say that one more time. From 2000 to 2015, the government released data that there was 3,636 farmer suicides. 4 universities came together: Guru Nanak Dev University, Patiala University, Amritsar University, and Chandigarh University. They came together. They did a study, an independent study, where they went through the villages of Punjab, and they collected their data from the pins of Punjab. From 2000 to 2015, their figure was 16,606. Look at the difference between 3,636 and 16,606. Now, when we go into a pin and we say, oh my God, this is the reality of the problem, do you think the government's going to want us to put that out there? The problem is they don't want their chagga chakko and their tidnanga, because it shows their neglect. It shows, outright them, neglecting or colluding to get Punjab to be destroyed. And in essence, data is the only thing that's going to prove that. Now, we're not trying to prove that. We're trying to make Punjab better. But within that, if people start to understand how drastic and how bad the situation is, like you talked about Punjab being Kali. I was watching a video of an elderly, and it made me tear up. He goes, ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਲਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ. He goes, ਘਰ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੁੱਲ੍ਹਾ ਵਗਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਬੱਚੇ ਹੱਸਦੇ ਖੇਲਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. He goes, ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਅੰਬਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਰਖਤ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੱਚੇ ਖਾ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹ ਅੰਬ ਪੱਕ ਕੇ ਥੱਲੇ ਡਿੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ, ਕੋਈ ਖਾਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਿੰਡ 'ਚ. Just understand how he must be feeling of such a raunak pind, and ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਦਰਖਤ ਉਹ ਅੰਬ ਹੀ ਪੱਕ ਕੇ ਥੱਲੇ ਡਿੱਗੇ, ਕੋਈ ਖਾਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਪਿੰਡ ਖਾਲੀ ਇੰਨੇ ਪਏ ਆ. ਹਾਂਜੀ ਭਾਈ. ਹਾਂਜੀ.
ਘਰ ਜਿੰਦਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਆ, ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਉਸ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੰਦਾ ਘਰ ਲੱਗਾ. My ਚਾਚਾ ਨੇ the last one that he went to New Zealand. ਜਿੰਦਾ ਘਰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਉਸ ਘਰ 'ਚ. ਸਾਰੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਘਰ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਸਾਰੇ ਘਰ ਜਿੰਦੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਣ. ਕਈ ਬੰਦੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਵੇਚੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ.
That's another very important point. I'll come on to that in a second. The selling of the jameen. I'm going to touch upon this really, really, really quickly, and it's very important. So your jameen it's not your fasal, it's your nasl that you're selling basically. That jameen that you have in Punjab is so important to keep hold on to. And I'll tell you a reason why. I'll give you 2 examples. One example is Kashmir. So Kashmir was a state that didn't want to go with India or Pakistan. It was in the middle in 1947. So what happened? They created this special law for Kashmir, which is called Article 370, which meant a person in Kashmir could own his own land. It had his own passport. They had their own national anthem. They had their own citizenship. Kashmir was a state within a state. It was like an independent state. Now the Modi government came in, and the first thing, without passing it in Parliament, they went and abolished Article 370. Took it out overnight. What happened overnight? That means anyone could go and buy land in Kashmir. That means the people of Kashmir didn't have their sovereignty anymore as they did with Article 370. And what happened? Since 2018, most of the people that have gone into Kashmir to buy land have been non-Kashmiris. And they've bought it at 10 times the value it is. And if someone comes to you and your Jameen's worth 100,000 and they come and say, I'll give you $1 million for it, there's a reason why they want that Jameen. Because they know the value of that Jameen truly. Second example I'll give you is Palestine. Israel. We all know how Israel came about. They went in and bought shops that were worth 50,000 for 500,000. They created Israel by buying it because they knew the value of that. They know the value of their own homeland and azadi. Do you know a Jewish mother for the last 700 years that they were Ghulam, they used to say to their children before they sleep, "Pot sonja, Jerusalem ch milange." Go to sleep, in your dreams, we'll meet in Jerusalem. How many of us guys say to our kids, "Pot sonja, azad Punjab ch milange, ja apne ghar milange"? They set that indoctrinated within their minds of what that homeland was. And now they've got a homeland, they've got space at the table. We haven't got no space anywhere because we haven't got a home to say that's our home. Because the home we have is currently controlled, the remote control is somewhere else. So the Jameen of Punjab, do not sell no matter what you do. Pame do vele roti kha lo. Pame sukki roti khani pave. What's a nicer house and a nicer car going to do here when you're getting rid of your nasl, not just your fussel? It's unbelievable. We know the value of that land. The buffer state between 3 nuclear powers. The agricultural land. People always have to eat. That value is only going to increase of that land. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to scaremonger people saying, oh, NRIs can't own Jameen anymore. They can't do that, but they'll scare you and people will mass sell. Who's going to buy? They're ready to buy. What was the Kisan Morcha? It was the corporations coming in to increase the interest rates, the tax, so people, small-scale farmers, sell their land. Who wants to gain from it? The big farmers, the big corporations, they take over. Why? Because they know China's Silk Road is going to be selling produce grown in Punjab, in Europe throughout the day, and that land is going to 10x in value. We know that. But scaremongering will make you think, oh, you know what, I need to sell that land. Oh, no, you know what, corruption is someone's going to do kabja on the land. No, it's not as easy as that. Maybe back in the day it was, but now there's so much paperwork, they can't just do kabja of your land. There's services out there, people can look after that land. There was a podcast recently, and in that podcast, people have gone on there, I'm not mentioning any names, he's like, yeah, udde tenu pra thag karke kha lenda ya, mar denda, he's saying like, sell your Jameen. No. That is what they want you to do. They want you to sell your land so that the demographics of that land change. If Punjabi nahi rahe Punjab, then Punjab kada aaya? And who's going to buy that land? It's not going to be Punjabi buying it. Who is migrating into Punjab? So if you're going to change the demographics, and how does that help? Well, BJP's never won votes in Punjab. It will win votes when Punjabis leave. Because we're a thorn in their backside. Because of who we are, we've got a baggy soch. We stand up against injustice. So that Jameen, don't sell. If you are in such a drastic situation where you need to sell that Jameen, come find us. We'll find a Punjabi buyer. We'll find someone that can buy it. But please, beinti hai, there will be scaremongering. There will be people saying to you, oh no, utte kisne kabja kar lana, wo kar lana. Don't worry about that. There's services, there's places that can happen. Anji.
The family home as well.
Yeah, there's loads of that going on at the moment. And I think the key thing that comes from that is you make sure your kids are going back. Connect them back to Punjab. I remember going with my parents when I was younger. It was amazing. And you connected, you rooted to that place. And the only way that's going to happen is you take them once a year. You make sure you connect them back to that Punjab. Tika, any other questions? Thank you so much, guys.
Take them to Punjab and not Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely. Or go to Dubai, but go Punjab after. Yeah. Tika, WhyGuru ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru ji ki Fateh.